Ethan Nwaneri, Sue, became the youngest player in a Premier League game to complete 5 dribbles in a match. He beats a record set by Bukayo Saka. Can they both play in the same team when Saka's back?
Could you find a position for him? Because he's certainly stepped up to the plate. Saka is outstanding, and if you're going to put the two there, you would always play Saka. But you think, could he play in a number 10? Then you've got Ødegaard in there. Could he play on the other side? So I think he's a young player, 17 years old. So he can come in, he can come out. I think Mikel Arteta at the moment, he's forced to start him and play him. And the fact that he's been able to step up and show that maturity is credit to him. We know that he can be a match winner, whether that's a brilliant goal, whether that's a great assist. So, yeah, I think when Saka comes back, it's obviously then that competition for places and the ability and, you know, enable Arteta to be able to rotate when he needs to. Is
there ever the sense that he could play as that false nine Nwaneri and you would have Saka on one side, possibly Martinelli or Trossard or Sterling on the other? They could do it that way?
Again, that could be another option. You can see he's a very intelligent footballer. You can see that his movement is excellent. So whether that is, it's something that Mikel Arteta, we know, like to play with that false nine, that player dropping in. So it could be something that they're working on. But I think, you know, all he can do is when he gets the opportunity, take it, and he's certainly taken it.
He's that good. He will find a way to get him into that team. He has to find a way to get him into that team. He is a phenomenal talent.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of them players, when you watch him, you think, I cannot wait to see where you end up in 4 or 5 years. I mean, Arsenal fans will hate me for saying it, but everyone will be after him in a short space of time, and it'll be the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, will be knocking on the door saying, we can't miss out on this kid, but Arsenal will be saying, well, he's ours, we're not letting him go. But he is a special talent. I just find it incredible that he come up with a stat of a question that he's completed 5 dribbles as a 17-year-old. It's incredible what people find now, isn't it, to bring up a stat.
Some people have too much time on their hands,
exactly.
Stephen, on a Sunday night. Who do you think Thomas Tuchel's first England left-back will be?
Oh, good question. I think he'll definitely be looking at Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think he has to. Yeah. I think when you look at the ability that he's got, whether it's driving into that midfield area, 1v1 defending, I think as well, I think he'll want to look at him closely to see just how good he is. Also, can he react, excuse me, to being in and around the squad and understanding the levels that you need to go to play for England. I think it will be him. I think it'll be Miles Lewis-Skelly, and I hope it is.
I'm just agreeing.
One of the longest shrugs I've ever seen in my life there.
I thought you were going to bring me another question.
No, I was just saying if you'd like to pick up on what Stephen was saying, but your shrug just answered it for me.
Yeah, well, I think you can't, at the moment, the way that he's performing, I think he's been outstanding. You look at positives for this Arsenal side, yes, they've got so many injuries and it's been really frustrating for, I think, the Arsenal fans to see that. But certainly 2 bright sparks has to be the form of those 2 young players and the quality that they've shown to be able to step into a team with lots of pressure. You know, a team that are fighting for the title in the Champions League and perform at that level is credit to them.
Stephen, they're 7 points behind Liverpool with 13 games to play. What do you think that, I mean, it's obviously not in their hands, but what do you think the minimum number of games that they would have to win if they want to take this title would be? Do you think they're going to have to be somewhere near 11, 12, all of them?
Near all of them, I think. Yeah, just because of the quality of Liverpool. But then if you look at Liverpool's next 3 games and you go, they've got Villa, City, Newcastle. If they drop points in all of them games, then suddenly you've got a different sort of proposition on your hands for Arsenal. I think the biggest concern is, and I know they dealt with it at the weekend, but not having forward players and fit forward players in your team is going to affect you at some point. And it's just those moments when you go up against organised defences, tough defences, where they are very sort of resolute in what they're trying to do, and then you need that moment of brilliance or that instinctive moment. So but they're going to have to continue this incredible run that they're on.
And that's the point, though, isn't it, Sue, that we talk about Liverpool's next few fixtures, but Arsenal, West Ham at home, Forest away, Manchester United away, Chelsea at home, Fulham at home. Go on, I'll be charitable. Everton away after that. You know, that's not easy, is it? You know, we're asking questions about what Liverpool might do this week, but you're asking Arsenal to be almost perfect over 13 games.
And I think that's the thing, that they know that they need to be near perfect because of what Liverpool are doing, because of that gap that they've got to try and make up. And I keep mentioning it, but the injuries to the forward players, the fact that they've got, you know, the Sterling, Trossard, Nwaneri. When you looked at them in that first half against Leicester, wasn't very fluid, which is probably going to be the case. They've not played a lot of minutes together. So, yes, Arteta found that solution of bringing Merino in. He obviously came and scored the 2 goals, but you just think he's going to have to keep trying to find that. We know that they're good at scoring goals from different ways, whether that's set pieces, corners, free kicks, whether that's Ødegaard stepping up from the midfield area. So we know that they can find goals from different ways, but we also do know that they've got to be near perfect, and there's some tough games coming up.
Let's not forget the run they're on. They're doing an incredible job, considering all the injuries. That he keeps on finding solutions. They keep on finding ways to win games. So that they're not going away. Even Arne Slot alluded to at the weekend, he was like, we must be doing something right, because Arsenal are unbeaten now in 15 games. We must be doing something right ourselves. So it's going to be a fascinating title race. There's going to be something that's going to happen along the way where we think, oh, like whether it's a slip up from Arsenal or a slip up from Liverpool, and it might just open the gap up for Liverpool or just close the gap and Arsenal can capitalise.
So Mikel Merino, the hero, Stephen, on Saturday lunchtime, how sustainable is that?
Probably not for long. You'd like to think that he can do a job every now and again. Obviously, he didn't start in the game, so how does he start if he's going to play in that position? How do they bring him into the game? What would his role be? Would it be playing up against a back 4 or high up against centre-backs, or would he play as almost a false 9 and wander into that position from midfield positions? But listen, it worked at the weekend. Will it work for the long foreseeable future? I'm not so sure it will, but credit to Mikel Arteta for giving it a go, and credit to Merino for pulling it off.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see that Gary said there, Mikel Arteta enjoys trying to work out these solutions. I suspect he doesn't, does he? I'm sure he'd rather have a striker there.
Of course he would, yeah. He'd rather have the options, because when you look at the players, Sterling, Trossard, Nwaneri, you wondered how they were going to line up, and it was obviously Trossard in that false 9, but they're all sort of small, tricky players that obviously got the ability, but they just couldn't break Leicester City down, and you thought, right, they need to do something, and then to obviously bring Merino on. And to be fair to him, his movement was brilliant. It was the movement of a striker, like you say. Whether that's something he's going to use going forward, I'm sure it's going to be another option for him, because you've got the players that can get the deliveries into the box. If his movement is good and that presence up there, it's different. But of course, Mikel Arteta, I'm sure, would have preferred to have had the options, because they've been so unfortunate with injuries in that attacking lineup. Ideally, they would have brought somebody in the transfer window, but couldn't obviously find the right one that they wanted.
Just on what Sue said there about movement then, how difficult is it to adapt to be playing as a striker? And is the biggest difference, quite obviously, the fact that you're just not as good a finisher as a natural centre-forward?
Tried all my career, Rob. Look, I ended up at
left back was bad enough, let me tell you.
Exactly. So, listen, everyone wants to score goals as a kid, and everyone wants to be a striker, because it's the best position in the team. Because when you score the goals, you get the adulation, you get the praise, you get paid the most money. Everything that comes with being a great striker comes great things. So we all want to be in that position, but we don't have the movement. We don't have that natural instinct to find the right places at the right time. It can't be coached. You can coach to an element, but there's got to be a natural side of it as well. Now, the movement might have been a little bit of luck. It might have been something that he's actually got naturally. We don't know yet, but also do it against... I watched Leicester the other week against Everton. The 2 centre-backs were awful. I know Vestergaard didn't play in the game at the weekend, but I look at them and I think they're not the best defensively, so you are going to get space in the box. They are going to switch off. Now you've got to do it against the top teams. Can you do it when you're under pressure as well? Because there wasn't much pressure. There was an element of pressure because you want him to come off the bench and score, but yeah, you've got to do it against the big team.
Arsenal handed double injury boost as potential Bukayo Saka return date confirmed. Arsenal have been without a host of attacking options for the second half of the season, but the Gunners' injury crisis has shown some early signs of easing as the title race intensifies. Mikel Arteta is hoping to have Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli back after the next international break. They could even return to face Fulham on Tuesday, April 1st, to give Arsenal's run-in a huge boost after their devastating injury list. It means Arsenal will be without Saka and Martinelli for the next 6 games, but the hope is they will step up training during that period and then be ready for the business end of the campaign. Gunners winger Martinelli suffered a hamstring injury in the Carabao Cup semi-final defeat at Newcastle, and his layoff has been uncertain. But Martinelli, who went on the club's warm weather break to Dubai last week, is making steady progress and is hoping to be back to give Arsenal's injury-hit forward line a major lift. Saka underwent surgery on his hamstring tear in December and was last week pictured working in the gym as his rehabilitation and recovery is going well. The initial prognosis was him pushing to train by the end of February and then being fit to play during March. That now looks a realistic target to allay fears that he could be out for longer amid suggestions he could be sidelined for another 2 months. But Saka will now over the course of the next few weeks step up his rehab, return to training and then get out onto the grass with his teammates. England have back-to-back World Cup qualifiers with Albania and Latvia on March the 21st and 24th respectively, and Saka will miss Thomas Tuchel's first games in charge. But it now looks realistic for him to play soon after, which is a massive help because Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz have already been ruled out for the rest of the season. It should mean Arsenal will have their wingers back for the title run-in and also a potential Champions League quarter-final. It comes after suggestions that Saka had suffered a slight setback in his comeback, something that Arteta refused to confirm ahead of the weekend win against Leicester. Asked if those reports were true, Arteta simply replied no before adding, "We have a long-term injury. What is faster? In a 10-day injury, 3 days is a lot. But it's too early, he's in an early stage of rehab. When we do more we will stack on more load." Injuries to Saka, Martinelli, Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus have left Mikel Arteta's side incredibly short in attack, with Raheem Sterling, Leandro Trossard and Ethan Nwaneri their only recognised senior forward players. Arteta used Mikel Merino as an emergency centre-forward at Leicester on Saturday and was rewarded as the Spaniard scored a match-winning brace off the bench. The return of 2 key attacking players would be a huge boost for Arteta, whose side could still make this a memorable campaign. The Gunners trail Liverpool by 7 points with 13 games to play in the Premier League campaign, while they are also in the last 16 of the Champions League.